The night is quiet now. The room is still and the body begins to soften, far beyond the walls, beyond the weight of today. An older world waits. It is a world of silence and starlight, where the first cities of humankind rise from the earth like ancient dreams. The air is heavy with the scent of clay and the smoke of sacred fires. Rivers move like silver serpents through the desert, and above it all the moon rests, calm, watchful, eternal. The people of Mesopotamia lift their eyes to her. She is not only light in the darkness, she is a goddess. She is a mystery. She is comfort, and her priestesses, gentle keepers of her glow, watch through the long hours of the night. Softly, the story begins. In the land between the rivers, where reeds sway and waterbirds nest, the moon was called by many names. To some, she was Nana's child. To others, she was the goddess Nana herself, shining with quiet dignity. Her light spilled across fields of barley and touched the rooftops of temples. Farmers prayed for her blessing. Travelers trusted her to guide their steps at night. But in the temples, it was women who carried her presence most closely. They tended fires that never went out. They sang to the stars. Their voices rose like smoke, delicate and calm, weaving a song that floated up to the heavens. These were the moon's priestesses, guardians of stillness, daughters of devotion. Imagine them now. Their robes of linen flow like water. Their hair is bound with threads of silver. The glow of the fire paints their faces in gold, while the moon paints their faces in pale light. They move slowly, almost like dancers, as they place offerings upon low stone altars. The offerings are simple: a bowl of milk, a loaf of bread, a scattering of barley. Each gift is a whisper of gratitude, a promise of care, a way of saying, "We see you, we remember you, we honor you." And as their hands rise, as their chants continue, the moon seems to listen. Her round face looks down with patience, with a mother's tenderness. In this sacred place, time feels different. The rush of hours fades. The temple breathes with the rhythm of eternity. The priestesses do not ask for power. They do not cry out for wealth or for conquest. They only give themselves to the quiet work of keeping light alive. A flame must be fed. A prayer must be spoken. A song must be sung. In their devotion, the whole community finds comfort. For the people know, as long as the priestesses keep the fires glowing, as long as their voices reach the heavens, the moon will watch over them. The rituals are soft, like lullabies. One priestess sprinkles drops of water across the temple floor to cool the air and soothe the spirits. Another draws simple patterns in the dust: circles, spirals, waves, the shapes of creation. Others hum in low tones, steady as a heartbeat, until the walls seem to vibrate with calm. Their words are ancient. Their gestures are timeless. Every movement is like the turning of the moon itself. Patient, slow, inevitable. If you listen closely, even now, you can almost hear them. Their chant drifts through the centuries, rising and falling like breath. A gentle rhythm, steady as waves brushing a quiet shore. The moon was more than a symbol to these people. She was life itself. By her cycles they counted the months. By her glow they planted seeds. By her stillness they found hope when the night felt endless. To gaze at the moon was to remember that even in darkness there is light. Even in silence there is presence. Even in absence there is return. And so the priestesses stood as living reflections of the moon. They were her daughters, her mirrors, her voices. In their hands, she became close enough to touch, close enough to trust. Now imagine lying in the temple courtyard beneath the open sky. The stone is cool beneath your back. Palm trees sway at the edge of the desert. The river glimmers like black glass. Above you, the moon glows. Around you, the priestesses move like shadows of light. Their song is low and endless, rising and falling with the night air. You close your eyes, and the song wraps around you like a blanket. You feel the weight of the earth sink beneath you. You feel the air grow still. You feel the moon's calm touch upon your face. The priestesses' lives were woven with this devotion. From childhood, they were taught the mysteries of the moon, how to read her phases, how to keep fire alive, how to soothe with song. They learned that the moon was both mother and maiden, both silence and speech, both departure and return. She was all cycles, all change, all renewal. And so each night, as others slept, the priestesses kept watch. They were guardians of time, keepers of breath, singers of the eternal return. In their stillness, they carried stories, Stories of lovers who met beneath the moon. Stories of kings who prayed for her blessing before battle. Stories of rivers that swelled and shrank in rhythm with her glow. But most of all, they carried the story of peace. That even in the hardest nights, there is light to hold. That even when shadows spread, a face of calm remains above. Their gentle fires taught this truth. Their voices carried it to all who listened. And their moon, ever faithful, ever present, proved it true. As the night deepens, the temple grows quiet. The fire burns low. The chant fades into whispers. One by one, the priestesses sit upon the floor, resting in the silence they have created. The moon still shines. She needs no words now, only her glow, her endless watching, her eternal presence. And in this stillness, sleep begins to settle, like dew upon the grass, like mist upon the river, like a blessing upon the heart. The night will pass. The moon will set. The sun will rise over the rivers, painting the city in gold, but the memory of the moon remains. Her priestesses will rise again tomorrow night. The fires will be lit, the chants will begin, and the cycle will turn once more. For the moon is never gone. She only rests. She only returns. Now drift with the priestesses' voices. Drift with the soft glow of fire. Drift with the silver light of the moon. The night is endless, and yet it is safe. The darkness is deep, and yet it is calm. The goddess watches as she has always watched. Her priestesses stand in quiet devotion. Her light pours gently across the earth, and you too are part of her glow. Let the story close now, like a door made of silk. The temple fades. The river grows still. The chant becomes only the rhythm of your breath. Rest in the moonlight. Rest in the quiet blessing of her priestesses. Rest in the eternal truth that even in the night you are never alone. The stars whisper, the fires sleep, and now, so do you, the river is calm tonight. Its waters slide like glass beneath the starlit sky. Palm fronds sway in the hush of desert wind, and lanterns glow upon the banks of the Nile. Somewhere beyond the reeds, a temple rises, carved from stone, resting firm against the ages. Its walls are painted with sacred colors, and its pillars carry the shapes of lotus and papyrus. The night gathers around it like a cloak, and the moon glimmers softly across its gates. Within these walls, the name of Isis is spoken, goddess of magic, mother of kings, healer of hearts, protector of life. Her story moves like the river itself, endless, winding, flowing with love and mystery. Step gently into this temple in your mind. The air is warm, touched with the scent of frankincense and myrrh. Faint chants echo against the stone, sung by voices that rise and fall like the breath of the earth. Torches burn low, their flames trembling like golden petals. Carved upon the walls are images of Isis with outstretched wings, long feathers curling around kings, farmers, children, and wanderers alike. Her embrace is wide enough for all, her protection steady as the stars above. The priests and priestesses bow low before her altar. Their offerings are simple: bowls of milk, baskets of dates, flowers gathered from the river's edge. They whisper prayers of healing, of safety, of blessing. The temple hums with reverence, a living current of devotion flowing to her name. Isis was more than a goddess to the people of Egypt. She was a mother's presence in the silence of the night. She was a healer's hand over the wounded. She was the voice of hope when grief seemed endless. Her story is told in many ways, yet always it begins with love. They say Isis was the wife of Osiris, the green god of life, of rivers, of the growing earth. But when Osiris was torn apart by death, scattered across the land, Isis did not surrender. With wings of patience and a heart of devotion, she searched for every piece of him. Through deserts and fields, along rivers and mountains, she gathered what had been lost. And when all was found, she spoke words of power, words born from her love, words older than the stars themselves. Her breath stirred life again, and Osiris rose from death. From that union Horus was born, the falcon child, the king to come. And so Isis became the mother of kings, the protector of throne and crown, the guardian of every newborn life. Listen, now to the hymn sung for her, Lady of Magic, bearer of wings, keeper of secrets, mother of beginnings. The chants move like gentle waves, carrying her name from one temple to the next, across villages, across fields, along the river's winding length. Even those far from the sanctuaries whispered her name in the quiet of their homes, trusting her to watch over their children, their harvests, their journeys. Isis was the healer of the sick, the comfort of the grieving, the protector against storm and flood. Her hands were the wings that shielded humanity. Imagine standing by the Nile at dusk. The sun has just slipped below the horizon, and the water is touched with crimson and violet. Fishermen pull their nets ashore. Mothers gather children close. The air smells of earth after heat, of water cooling the dust of the day. In this quiet hour, small shrines to Isis glow with tiny lamps. Women place bread upon them. Men pour clear water in her honor. Even the poorest offer what little they can, for all know her love is wide and her gaze is kind. The people look to the river and feel her there. They look to the moon and see her light. They look to the fields of grain and sense her care. Isis is everywhere. In the stone temples, in the reed huts, in the silence between the stars. The magic of Isis was not thunder, not fire, not force. Her magic was the patient strength of devotion. The way water wears down stone. The way love endures through grief. The way a mother's arms can make even the darkest night safe. She spoke spells, yes, ancient words carved into memory, into walls, into air. But behind each spell was her unshaken love, and that was the deepest magic of all. It is said she taught humankind the arts of healing, the ways of herbs, the power of song, the rhythm of ritual. She was a teacher, a guide, a soft flame of wisdom in a world that often felt uncertain. Now the temple quiets, the chants slow, melting into silence. Torches flicker lower, their smoke curling upward like threads of prayer. A statue of Isis stands tall, carved from black stone, inlaid with gold and lapis. Her wings spread wide across the chamber, feathers outstretched in eternal embrace. Her eyes seem alive, watching, gentle, endless. Those who gaze upon her feel both small and safe, as though wrapped in the vastness of the sky. In the hush, a child steps forward. The child carries a single lotus blossom. It is placed upon the altar with trembling hands. The petals shine pale in the firelight, soft as sleep. The gift is received. The silence deepens, and the presence of Isis feels near, as though the air itself breathes with her care. Her wings stretch not only over kings and temples, but over every quiet heart, the traveler who sleeps beneath the desert stars, the farmer who bends low over his crops, the mother who hushes her child at night, the dreamer who drifts between worlds. All are gathered beneath her feathers. All are touched by her light. Her name has crossed centuries. Her story has outlived empires. And even now, when one calls upon her with gentleness, a sense of calm seems to arrive, soft as the flow of the river, steady as the shining of the moon. The Nile drifts on. Its waters murmur with secrets older than stone. The reeds bow and rise with the breeze. The stars gather above, scattered like grains of wheat upon the sky. Isis remains. She is in the hush of the night. She is in the pulse of the earth. She is in the stillness of every resting soul. The temple walls may fade with time. The chants may quiet. But the essence of Isis, the motherly strength, the healing magic, the eternal embrace, lingers always. Now let the story rest upon you like a soft cloak. Feel the river move beneath the stars. Feel the torchlight grow dim. Feel the wings of Isis wrap gently around your spirit. She protects. She heals. She guides. She comforts. The night deepens. The body grows heavy. The breath softens. And Isis, mother of magic, watches. Her light does not fade. Her care does not end, so drift onward. Drift as the river drifts. Drift as the stars drift across the sky. Drift beneath her wings, safe and calm. The goddess remains. The night is gentle. The soul is at rest. The night is deep. The stars are quiet, glimmering like silver dust scattered across a black velvet sky. The world is hushed as though waiting. The air is still, and the dream of the story begins again. In the far lands of Sumer, where rivers flowed like great blue ribbons across the earth, there was once a goddess who carried both radiance and shadow within her. Her name was Inanna. She was queen of heaven, a goddess of love and of war, of fertility and of wisdom. She was beauty, power, and mystery. But most of all, she was courage. For Inanna chose to journey where few dared to go. She chose to descend into the underworld. Close your eyes and let the scene unfold. The desert stretches wide, endless as the sea. The wind carries the faint scent of dust and myrrh. Inanna walks with measured steps, her golden crown gleaming beneath the sun, her robes flowing with threads of lapis and carnelian. She is adorned with jewels, each piece a symbol of her power. A staff, a necklace, rings of shining stone. Yet in her heart, she knows these will not remain. For the underworld accepts no finery, no wealth, no crown. Only the soul itself may pass. Still she continues. Her path bends toward the shadowed gate, a place where the living do not linger. The gate is tall, carved of dark stone, wrapped in silence. Beyond it lies the realm of Ereshkigal, her sister, the queen of the dead. The gatekeeper looks upon Inanna. His eyes are still as clay, his voice slow as sand. Who enters the land of no return? He asks, and Inanna answers with calm. It is I, Inanna, Queen of Heaven, who comes to witness the deep mysteries of death. The gatekeeper bows, yet he knows the law. At each gate of the underworld something must be given away. At the first gate, Inanna surrenders her crown. The symbol of her rule is taken, and she steps forward with her head bare beneath the dim light. At the second gate, her staff is removed. The rod of power is gone, and her hands hang empty. At the third, her necklace of beads is lifted. The jewels no longer shimmer against her chest. At the fourth, her rings are slipped away. Her fingers are bare. At the fifth, her breastplate is removed. Her body feels lighter, more vulnerable. At the sixth, her golden belt is untied. The weight of adornment is gone. At the seventh, even her robes are taken. She enters unclothed, without crown, without jewels, without veil. Only her essence, her being, her soul. Inanna stands now in the realm of shadows, stripped of all she once carried. The air is cool and heavy. The ground is dark as obsidian. Shades move like whispers through the stillness. And there, upon a throne of silence, sits Ereshkigal, queen of the dead. Her face is stern, her eyes endless, her presence a weight that settles over all. The two sisters gaze upon one another. Life and death, heaven and shadow, love and silence. Inanna bows her head. Her journey is not for conquest, but for truth. She has descended to understand, to embrace what lies beyond the veil of life. In this quiet place, Inanna's strength falters. She is judged by the laws of the underworld. She is bound, she is stilled, she is made to rest as one of the dead. The world above feels her absence. Fields grow quiet. The lovers cease their song. The harvest lies still upon the earth. It is as though life itself holds its breath, waiting for her return. But renewal is never far. The gods, moved by compassion, send messengers to plead for Inanna. They sprinkle the water of life. They whisper the food of life. Slowly, gently, Inanna stirs again. Her spirit rises like dawn after endless night. She is lifted from the silence, guided once more toward the gates. And though she ascends, she does not return unchanged. At each gate, what was taken is returned. Her robes are placed back upon her shoulders. Her belt is tied. Her breastplate is restored. Her rings are slipped upon her fingers. Her necklace returns. Her staff is placed in her hands. Her crown rests again upon her brow. Yet now each object feels different. No longer symbols of pride, they are symbols of transformation. Each carries the weight of her descent, the wisdom of the underworld, the courage of surrender. She walks back into the world of light not as she once was, but as one who has touched the depths and risen again. This is the gift of Inanna's story, that to descend is not to be lost, that to surrender is not to end, that in embracing death, life returns with greater fullness. It is the truth of the seed that falls into earth before it sprouts, the truth of the moon that vanishes before it shines again, the truth of the soul that rests in darkness before waking once more to light. Imagine now the coolness of the underworld, the stillness of stone, the hush of shadow, and then imagine the rising, the slow return of warmth upon the skin, the weight of robes upon the shoulders, the breath of air upon the face, the river flowing once more, the stars shining once more. Inanna has returned, and through her, renewal has returned to the world. The people of Sumer told this story beneath the stars. They told it at times of planting and harvest. They told it in seasons of loss and in moments of hope. For in Inanna's descent, they found the courage to face endings, and in her return, they found the promise of beginnings. Her story was the rhythm of life itself, the rhythm of cycles, the rhythm of change, the rhythm of eternal return. Now let the image of Inanna linger softly in your thoughts. Her crown glimmers in starlight. Her hands carry both power and tenderness. Her eyes hold both shadow and light. She is the goddess who dared to descend. She is the goddess who rose again. She is the goddess who teaches that every darkness can open into dawn. Rest with her story. Rest with her courage. Rest with her renewal. The night continues. The stars remain. The river flows, and Inanna's wings, unseen yet ever near, fold gently around the heart. So drift onward. Drift deeper into stillness. Drift into sleep, where endings and beginnings meet. Now rest, as the stars return. The night is hushed. The stars shimmer faintly, resting like lanterns in the high silence of the sky. The mountains are dark silhouettes, their peaks veiled in a pale silver glow. Somewhere, an olive tree bends gently with the night wind, and the earth seems to hold its breath. It is in such a quiet that the dream of Delphi awakens, a place of stone, of laurel leaves, of hidden fire beneath the mountain's skin. Here in the folds of Greece, the god Apollo was said to speak, and women, chosen as vessels, carried his voice to those who came in longing. Imagine the sacred path. It rises gently along the slope of Mount Parnassus. The stones of the path are smooth from the countless feet that have walked before. Pilgrims carry gifts of honey, of gold, of fragrant laurel. Their hearts are heavy with questions. Questions of love, of war, of harvest, of fate. They walk slowly, for the air is thin and full of reverence. The mountains echo faintly with the sound of their steps. Far below, valleys sleep in shadow, while above, the sky stretches endlessly. At the top of this winding path stands the temple. Columns rise like pale guardians carved against the sky. The scent of smoke drifts from the altar, where flames flicker softly in the breeze. The sound of a distant lyre carries through the air, its notes as delicate as falling water. Inside the temple, there is stillness. The light is dim, softened by drifting smoke and the glow of oil lamps. The walls whisper with painted stories, gods and mortals entwined in eternal dance. Here rests the seat of the oracle, the woman who will speak the voice of Apollo. She sits not as herself, but as a vessel. She is called the Pythia. She breathes the sacred air that rises from the earth, a vapor said to carry divine presence. She closes her eyes. Her lips tremble with words not her own. The sound of her whisper is gentle, like water moving through reeds. Her words do not rush. They fall slowly, one by one, carried by rhythm, carried by trance. Those who kneel before her listen with bowed heads. They do not look directly into her eyes, for they know she gazes beyond them into the hidden realms of gods. Her words are like fragments of a dream, like lines of poetry scattered by the wind. The seekers must gather them carefully, holding them close, turning them in the mind until meaning begins to bloom. Imagine now the oracle's breath. It drifts like mist through the temple. The hall feels alive, as though the mountain itself is exhaling. The torches flicker. The air hums softly with unseen presence. Her voice is soft, not loud, not commanding. It is the quiet of a lullaby, the hush of a mother speaking to her child. And yet within it lies weight, the kind that settles deep into the heart. The people who have come, kings and farmers, mothers and soldiers, listen in stillness, for in that whisper lies a path, a thread to guide them through the weaving of their lives. The oracle is not alone. Around her, other women tend the temple. They bring laurel leaves, the sacred plant of Apollo. They sing low hymns that echo against the stone. Their voices are steady, a gentle rhythm, a background of devotion that cradles the Pythia in her trance. Together, they create a space where the mortal world meets the divine, a place where silence carries meaning, and where whispers hold power greater than thunder. To the ancient Greeks, Delphi was the navel of the world. They believed it was the center, the place where sky and earth touched most closely. Here the voice of the god was nearest. Here one could glimpse the hidden pattern that lay beneath all things. The oracle's words did not always bring clarity. Often they were riddles, shaped like rivers that twist before they reach the sea. But within those riddles was reflection. Within them was the mirror of fate. Think now of water, a pool deep within a cave. The surface is still, yet beneath currents move unseen. The oracle's voice was like that. On the surface, a whisper. Beneath, entire rivers of meaning. To listen was to wait. To listen was to let the words settle, like stars reflected in water. To listen was to find meaning not only in her speech, but in the silence that followed. The Temple of Delphi stood for centuries. Through seasons, through generations, through the rise and fall of kings, the whisper endured. It was said that even the most powerful bowed to the soft voice of the oracle, that the greatest warriors paused before her words, that empires shifted not by sword alone, but by whisper carried in the stillness of her chamber. And yet, the oracle was not thunder, not fire, not storm. She was silence. She was breath. She was the hush of the mountain's heart, given voice through a woman's lips. Close your eyes and imagine being there. You walk the sacred path, your steps slow and steady. You feel the smoothness of stone beneath your feet. The air grows cooler as you near the temple. You hear the quiet song of women, their voices weaving like threads of air. Inside you see her, the oracle, seated upon her tripod, veiled in smoke and shadow. Her eyes are closed, her lips move softly. You do not understand all her words, but you feel them. They settle like seeds within the soil of your soul, and though you may not know their shape now, one day, in time, they will bloom. The oracle's whisper is more than prophecy. It is the reminder that truth is often quiet, that wisdom comes not in clamor but in stillness, that the divine may enter, not with force, but with a breath, a hush, a single gentle word. In the stillness of your own life, you too may hear whispers, perhaps in the sound of wind through leaves, perhaps in the ripple of water across stone, perhaps in the silence between your heartbeats, for the whisper of the oracle is not bound to Delphi alone. It lives wherever quiet is honored, wherever one listens deeply. The night deepens, the temple fades into the dream. The columns grow faint, the smoke dissolves into stars, the voices drift away like soft waves of air. What remains is silence, a silence that comforts, a silence that guides. The oracle has spoken. Her whisper still lingers, not in words, but in presence. Rest now. Rest with the thought of laurel leaves stirring in gentle wind. Rest with the image of mountains standing against a star-filled sky. Rest with the hush of a whisper that carries across centuries, soft as breath. Let us drift onward. Let us drift deeper. Now rest as the stars return. The night is gentle. The stars stretch wide above, each one a small fire resting in endless sky. Beneath them, the ancient hills of Greece lie quiet, their slopes wrapped in silver light. The air is calm, carrying only the faint sound of distant waves against stone. In this stillness, a temple rises. Its columns gleam in moonlight. Its steps are cool with marble touched by centuries of prayer. This is Hera's place, Queen of Heaven, Guardian of Vows, the goddess of sacred union. Here, the air is heavy with the fragrance of offerings, roses, pomegranates, and soft clouds of incense. The people come not with haste, but with reverence. Their hearts are tender, for they enter the halls of a goddess who cradles both the bonds of love and the strength of devotion. Imagine the sacred halls. They stretch long and open, filled with the soft glow of oil lamps. Flames flicker gently, casting shadows that sway upon carved stone. The sound of sandals upon marble echoes like slow, steady heartbeats. Women arrive with baskets woven from reeds, filled with flowers gathered at dawn. Men bring fruit, grain, and wine, gifts to honor the mother of marriage. Children walk quietly, their small hands clutching sprigs of myrtle. All who enter feel the hush of her presence. It is not a thunderous power, not fire, not storm. It is something steadier, something like the roots of a great tree, deep and unmoving. A strength that shelters rather than shakes. Hera's name is spoken with care. She is wife to Zeus, queen of Olympus. But she is more than that. She is the guardian of women's lives, the witness to vows spoken beneath the sky, the protector of the bond between two souls who choose to walk together. Her temples were not only for gods. They were for mortals who sought blessing in their union, who wished their love to be held by something greater than themselves. They came to her as a mother, a witness, a protector of promises. Listen to the festivals in her honor. They begin with dawn, when sunlight spills over hills and golden light warms the marble columns. Trumpets sound softly in the distance, not to awaken war, but to welcome joy. Women wear garlands of flowers upon their hair. Men carry torches that flicker like fireflies in daylight. There is laughter, but gentle. There is music, but steady like waves upon the shore. Every sound rises upward as though it is part of a hymn to the goddess. In these festivals, women celebrate her strength. They honor her as one who knows devotion, as one who understands the patience required to hold the weaving of a household, the threads of family, the ties that bind. Hera's sanctuaries were spread across Greece, but in the city of Argos, her worship was greatest. There her temple stood proud, one of the oldest in all the land. It was said the people of Argos built their devotion around her presence, offering her the heart of their city. Pilgrims walked from far away to lay garlands at her feet. They brought white cows, sacred to the goddess, symbols of purity and abundance. They lit lamps that burned through the night, keeping her halls filled with warmth even as the moon drifted high. Her myth is woven with complexity, yet within it rests a simple truth. She is strength. She is endurance. She is the quiet power that sustains the promises made in love. Her story tells of struggles, of jealousy, of pain. Yet beneath all this is devotion, a devotion that does not falter even when burdened. Like a river that continues to flow despite stones in its path, Hera embodies the lasting bond, the persistence of care. Think now of marriage as the ancients saw it. It was not only passion or joy, it was also duty, patience, and shared journey. To bind oneself to another was to choose a path of two souls intertwined, each carrying the other through storm and through calm. Hera was called to bless this union. Her presence gave it sacred weight, as though the vows spoken were not only heard by mortals, but also by the sky itself. She watched over women in childbirth, over homes where children grew, over the weaving of families into the great tapestry of life. Her strength was not loud, but enduring. It was the strength of roots that hold the earth together. Imagine standing in her temple as vows are spoken. Two figures kneel upon the stone floor, hands joined. They speak softly, voices trembling like the flicker of a flame. The priestess calls upon Hera's blessing, lifting a garland of flowers above their heads. The fragrance of roses fills the air. In that moment, the promise is no longer theirs alone. It belongs to Hera as well. It belongs to the goddess who guards the bonds of love. The couple rises. Their faces are lit by oil lamps, by hope, by the unseen presence of the goddess herself. Their steps echo as they leave, and the temple holds their vow, as though carved into its very stone. The myth of Hera reminds us that strength is not always in conquest. Sometimes it is in staying. Sometimes it is in keeping faith, in holding on, in protecting that which is fragile yet precious. Her sacred marriage was more than her union with Zeus. It was the symbol of all unions, of the weaving together of lives, of the endurance of love beyond its first flame. In her, women found a goddess who understood their lives, their struggles, their quiet courage. Men found a goddess who demanded respect for the bonds they entered, and children found a goddess who blessed the home they grew within. The night deepens. The torches of the temple burn lower, their flames soft and golden. The songs of the festival fade, leaving only silence beneath the stars. Within the sanctuary, Hera's presence remains, steady, enduring, a quiet guardian who watches with patient eyes. Her halls are calm now. The offerings rest in baskets. The garlands of roses fade into the cool air. The people have gone, but the goddess does not leave. She is still there, seated upon her throne, watching over every promise spoken in her name. As you rest, imagine her strength surrounding you. It is not heavy. It does not press. It simply holds, like the roots of a tree, like the steady rhythm of a heart. You are safe here, in her temple, in the glow of her presence. The stars above shimmer like the jewels of her crown. The night air is cool and soft, carrying whispers of devotion through the columns. Let the story close gently, now. Let Hera's sanctuary fade into dream. Her strength remains, even as the temple slips into quiet mist. Let us drift onward. Let us drift deeper. Now rest, as the stars return. The night is cool. The moon rests high, round and silver, painting the forest in pale light. The trees stand tall, their branches swaying gently as though they too are breathing in the stillness. Soft winds move through the leaves, carrying with them the faint scent of pine and wildflowers. Somewhere in this sacred quiet, a clearing opens. It glimmers in the moonlight like a secret pool of silver. This is no ordinary forest. This is a place of Artemis, the huntress, the guardian of the wild, the goddess of young women who dance beneath the stars. Step softly into the grove. The ground is cool beneath your feet, covered in moss that muffles every sound. Above, owls stir silently, their wings wide as shadows across the sky. From deep within the woods, the faint rhythm of drums drifts closer. It is not loud. It is not hurried. It is steady, like the heartbeat of the earth. Follow this rhythm, and the clearing comes alive. There, in the circle of trees, young women move in harmony. Their feet step lightly on the soil, their arms rise like branches, their voices lift in gentle chants. They are the wild daughters of Artemis. Their dance is not for show, not for eyes of men or courts of kings. It is for the goddess, for the moon, for the freedom of the spirit that runs untamed. Artemis herself is imagined here. She is young, radiant, yet fierce as the forest itself. Her bow rests at her side, carved of polished wood. Her quiver is filled with silver arrows that shine like slivers of moonlight. But tonight, she does not hunt. Tonight she watches quiet and proud as her daughters dance in her honor. Their chants are soft, woven with simple words that rise and fall like the wind. They praise the goddess of the hunt, of the moon, of the wild. They ask for her protection in the forest, in birth, in life's passages. Their voices echo through the trees, carrying reverence through the still night air. Artemis was beloved by women, especially the young who stepped into the threshold of adulthood. She was seen as protector, as guide, as sister of the wild places. Her presence was not bound to cities or temples alone. She was in the running deer, in the flowing streams, in the mountain winds. Her daughters honored her by living close to nature, by celebrating freedom, by remembering that strength can also be gentle. In their festivals, they wore simple robes tied with belts of woven leaves. They crowned themselves with flowers gathered at dawn. They lit fires in the heart of the forest, fires that glowed against the dark trunks of trees. And they danced, not as performers, but as one with the earth, with the stars, with the goddess herself. The dance itself is slow, graceful, like waves lapping the shore. Their feet move together, forming patterns upon the ground that echo the constellations above. Every step is a prayer. Every gesture is a thread woven into the tapestry of devotion. The drums continue, deep and steady. Sometimes a flute joins, its notes winding softly through the branches like a bird's song at twilight. Together, the sound is like a lullaby sung by the forest itself. The daughters of Artemis move in circles, their chants blending into the night air. They honor the cycles of the moon, waxing and waning, brightening and dimming. They honor the cycles of life, of growth, of change, of renewal. Artemis was not only goddess of the hunt, she was also guardian of childbirth, of the first cries of life. Her daughters knew her as protector in their most tender moments, as well as their most wild. She was freedom and care, strength and softness. She was both arrow and embrace. When they danced, they remembered this. They moved not only as maidens of the wild, but also as women who carried within them the sacred passage of life. The forest was their sanctuary. The moon was their guiding light, and Artemis was their eternal witness. Imagine sitting at the edge of this grove. The fire flickers gently, its glow warming the circle. The dancers move like shadows of flame, their voices rising and falling with the rhythm of the drum. You feel the earth beneath you, steady and cool. You feel the night air brushing softly against your face. You listen, and in listening, you too become part of the ritual. There is no rush here, no need for words of explanation. Only presence, only stillness, movement, and song blending together as one. As the night deepens, the dance slows. The women gather their voices into a final soft hymn, a song to Artemis carried upward toward the moon. Their hands lift, palms open to the sky. The light of the fire glows upon their faces, serene and calm. They close their eyes, and in the hush that follows, the forest itself seems to bow in reverence. The owls are silent. The trees are still. The wind pauses. Only the breath of the earth remains, deep and quiet. The ritual ends, but the presence lingers. The wild daughters of Artemis leave offerings at the foot of a tree, small bowls of milk, sprigs of laurel, woven garlands of flowers. These gifts are simple, yet filled with devotion. They are left in silence, with bowed heads and peaceful hearts. One by one, the daughters drift back into the shadows of the forest, their figures fading into the dark. The fire burns low, a quiet ember glowing against the night. The grove returns to stillness, but it is not empty. It holds the memory of their steps, their songs, their whispers to the moon. Artemis remains, unseen yet felt. She is in the rustle of the leaves, in the silver light that bathes the forest floor, in the steady heartbeat of the earth. She is the freedom of the wild and the safety of protection. She is the goddess of balance, untamed, yet nurturing. The daughters honored her through their dance, but her presence extends beyond their circle. It reaches into every grove, every hill, every place where moonlight touches earth. The night stretches onward. The fire fades to ash. The stars deepen, their light more ancient, more still. The grove grows silent once more, yet carries the memory of the ritual. It cradles the echo of the chant, the rhythm of the drum, the grace of the dance, and it holds them gently, like a lullaby, tucked into the folds of the night. Rest now in this memory. Rest with the thought of silver moonlight flowing across leaves. Rest with the rhythm of steady drums, now softened into silence. Rest with the image of Artemis, quiet and proud, watching over her daughters in the heart of the forest. Let us drift onward. Let us drift deeper. Now rest as the stars return. The night opens with silence, a wide silence, like a cloak laid across the hills. The stars rest above, shimmering faintly, as if breathing with the world below. In the distance, mountains rise, their outlines soft in the glow of moonlight. They seem timeless, steady, watching over the valleys as mothers watch over sleeping children. This is the realm of Cybele, the Great Mother, the Lady of the Mountains, the Ancient One, older than temples, older than carved stone, older even than the memory of kings. She is earth and rock, tree and stream, heartbeat and breath. Her presence flows through the hills of Anatolia, where her temples once stood, where her people gathered, where the steady rhythm of drums echoed like the pulse of the earth itself. Step softly now. Imagine entering one of her sanctuaries. Not a grand palace, not a sharp tower of marble, but a place open to the sky. A simple platform of stone, set against the slope of a mountain. Torches flicker at its edges, their flames bending in the cool night air. The scent of pine resin drifts upward, mingling with the sweetness of crushed herbs laid upon the altar. The people gather in circles, men and women, young and old, each one carrying a reverence deep in the chest. They do not whisper, for no words are needed. They wait, listening, breathing with the mountain. The silence stretches until it feels as though the earth itself is holding its breath. Then, softly at first, the sound begins. A single drum, low and steady. Boom, 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 like a heart waking from rest. The drum is joined by another, and then another. Soon the air is filled with rhythm, weaving together like threads of an invisible tapestry. The sound rolls across the valley, climbs the rocks, stirs the trees. It is not harsh, not hurried. It is deep, grounding, the very echo of life. The people sway with the rhythm. Some close their eyes. Some lift their hands to the sky. Some bow their heads to the earth. Every gesture becomes part of the great circle, part of the offering. In this sound, they feel Cybele, not as an image carved in stone, but as the living pulse of the mountain beneath their feet. Cybele was known as the mother of all. Her children were not only human. They were lions that roamed the rocks, birds that sang at dawn, streams that wound their way through meadows, fields of wheat that bent gently in the wind. Her temples were carved into cliffs, into caves, into the very heart of stone, as if to say she was inseparable from the mountain itself. She was called Protector, but also untamed. Her power was not of cities and crowns, but of storms and forests. She reminded her people that the earth is both generous and wild. She feeds, she shelters, she holds close, but she is vast and cannot be bound. In the firelight, the circle of worshippers begins to move. slow steps at first, feet brushing against the soil, hands rising gently with the rhythm. The drums guide them, not with command, but with invitation. The movement becomes a dance, not of sharp lines or practiced steps, but of flowing surrender. Bodies sway like branches in the wind. Hearts beat with the drums. The mountain itself seems to move with them, its slopes echoing with life. The dance is not for the eye, it is for the soul. Every step is a prayer, every turn a surrender, every breath a remembrance that all life flows from the same mother. Legends tell that Cybele was crowned with towers, a symbol of protection over cities. Yet her true throne was always the mountain. Her companions were lions, fierce yet loyal, who drew her chariot across the wild hills. These images were not to frighten but to remind that the mother holds both tenderness and power, that to honor her is to honor balance between stillness and movement, safety and freedom, silence and sound. And so the drums continue. The rhythm grows fuller, yet never loses its steadiness. It is like breathing, in, out, each beat a reminder that the heart of the earth and the heart within the chest are the same song. In her rites, some entered, trances carried by the rhythm, carried by devotion, but always, beneath every cry, beneath every step, was the deep comfort of the mother's presence, a presence that says, "You are held, you are born of earth, and to earth you return. You are not separate. You are part of the great circle, as the rivers are part of the sea, as the stars are part of the night sky." This was the gift of Cybele, to remind the people of their belonging, to remind them that they did not walk alone, but always upon her body, always within her care. Imagine sitting again at the edge of this sacred circle, the drums steady, the fire glowing, the dancers swaying in quiet rhythm. You feel the ground beneath you, solid, strong, unshaken. You feel the air, cool upon your skin, carrying the faint scent of pine and smoke. You listen to the rhythm, and you realize it is your own rhythm as well, your breath slow and deep, your heart calm and steady. You are not apart from this circle. You are within it. You are a child of the mother. As the night deepens, the fire softens, its flame shrinking into glowing embers. The drums slow. Their sound fades like waves retreating from the shore. The dancers bow their heads, their movements becoming still once more. The silence returns. But it is not an empty silence. It is full, alive, carrying the memory of the sound that has passed. Offerings are placed upon the altar, small bowls of honey, loaves of bread, flowers gathered from the hillsides. Simple gifts yet filled with reverence. They are laid with gentle hands, with quiet gratitude. The mother does not ask for gold or jewels. She asks only for presence, for remembrance, for love. The people leave the sanctuary one by one. Their footsteps fade into the mountain paths. The fire dims. The drums fall silent, yet the heartbeat of the earth continues, steady and eternal. Cybele remains. She is the rock beneath the soil, the root beneath the tree, the silence beneath the song. Her presence is everywhere, in the mountains that rise against the night, in the rivers that weave through valleys, in the stars that glimmer above, eternal and watchful, and in the steady beat of your own heart, gentle and true. Rest in her presence now. Rest as though the mountain cradles you in its vast arms. Rest as though the earth itself breathes with you. The Great Mother watches over all her children, both fierce and gentle, both young and old. She holds them as she holds the rivers, the forests, the stars. Let the rhythm of the drums fade into silence. Let the glow of the fire soften into memory. Let the mountain carry you deeper into calm. Let us drift onward. Let us drift deeper. Now rest as the stars return. The night is hushed. A calm spreads through the darkened land. Above, the stars shimmer softly, scattered like grains of silver upon a velvet sky. Below, in quiet villages and great cities alike, a small glow remains. In the center of every home, in the heart of every temple, a flame burns. Not fierce, not wild, but gentle and steady. This is the flame of Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, the quiet presence in every dwelling, the warmth of fire that gives bread its life, that lights the evening, that gathers the family close. She is not a goddess of battle, nor of storms, nor of crowns. Her realm is the steady glow of peace. Her gift is the comfort of simplicity. Imagine yourself now stepping into an ancient home, The walls are of stone, the air cool with the breath of night. Yet in the center a hearth glows. The fire crackles softly, its light painting golden shapes upon the walls. The scent of smoke is sweet, mingled with herbs laid upon the embers. Around it, shadows of children drift into slumber. An elder hums a quiet song, voice low and steady, weaving warmth into the air. This is not a place of grandeur. It is simple, but it is full. The flame holds it all together. It is the heart of the home. And in that heart, Hestia resides. Her name was spoken in every prayer. Before the people called upon the mighty Zeus, before they sought the wisdom of Athena or the strength of Ares, they first honored Hestia. For no word to the gods could be spoken without her. She was the opening, the foundation, the first spark before all else. Her temples were not filled with statues of marble. They were filled with fire, a sacred flame kept burning day and night, tended with care by priestesses who never allowed it to fade. The fire was not just heat or light. It was presence. It was the sign that the gods had not turned away. It was the reminder that even in the shifting tides of the world, one flame could remain steady. Her flame was also the center of every journey. When new colonies were founded, travelers carried coals from Hestia's fire in their ships, keeping it alive across the sea. When they reached new shores, they built new hearths, and from that coal, the flame of the old home was reborn. It was a sign of belonging, of memory, of never being truly alone. For wherever the fire burned, Hestia was present, and so the hearth was more than stone and wood. It was more than smoke and flame. It was a bridge between the human and the divine. It was the warmth that made strangers into family and a house into a home. Think now of the flame itself, not fierce like a storm's fire, not raging like lightning, but soft. A flame that bends with the wind yet does not vanish. A flame that glows, steady as breath, simple as the heartbeat. It does not shout, it does not command, it only warms. And yet, in its gentleness, it endures longer than fire that burns with fury. This is the wisdom of Hestia. That strength is not always loud. That power is not always sharp. That peace itself can be a form of devotion. Her fire teaches patience. It teaches stillness. It teaches the quiet joy of tending something small and watching it last. In the hush of night, the families gather. They sit in circles, the fire between them, their faces painted in its glow. Stories are told, prayers are spoken, bread is shared. The children lean against their mother's shoulders. The elders' eyes reflect the flame, steady and knowing. The fire becomes the center of all things. It listens, it holds. It glows without judgment, without demand. And so too does Hestia. She is not seen in grand myths of battle. She is not sung in tales of thunder. Her story is not of conquest, but of care. She chose no throne, she sought no power, she asked for no crown. Instead, she remained by the fire, by the home, where life begins and ends in quiet cycles. She is the unseen, the ever-present, the flame that never leaves. The Greeks believed her presence brought harmony. In every home, she was the silent peacekeeper. Her warmth softened anger. Her glow calmed sorrow. Around her hearth, voices quieted, hands unclenched, and hearts remembered their place in the circle of family. And in every city, her flame burned at the center, a symbol of unity. It reminded the people that though they lived in many houses, though they walked many paths, they were gathered by one fire, one home, one mother flame. Close your eyes and picture that fire now. The wood glows red, the embers breathe, the smoke curls upward like a prayer. You hear the soft crackle, like whispers of an ancient hymn. You feel the warmth upon your skin, not too hot, not too cold, but perfect, gentle, embracing. You watch the golden light shift and dance, painting soft shadows, calming the room. Every flicker feels like a heartbeat. Every glow feels like breath. The flame becomes your flame. The hearth becomes your hearth. In her simplicity lies her depth. Hestia reminds the world that divinity is not only in high places. It is not only in the roar of storms or the clash of kings. It is in the small flame that warms bread. It is in the light that guides children to sleep. It is in the silence of night when nothing moves but the soft crackle of the fire. She teaches that peace is sacred, that quiet is holy, that in tending the small, one honors the great. Now the night deepens. The families around the hearth drift into dreams. The fire glows steady, its breath slow, its warmth unwavering. In the silence, it watches over them, as it has watched over countless generations before. It holds the house in safety. It carries their prayers into the dark. It cradles them in warmth that is older than memory. Hestia remains, not as a figure to be seen, but as a presence to be felt. She is in the fire. She is in the silence. She is in the calm that settles gently, like a blanket over the home. And so, as you rest now, imagine her flame before you, steady, calm, endless. It does not waver. It does not fail. It glows within you, as it glows upon the earth. A small flame, yet eternal. A quiet fire, yet infinite. Let its warmth cradle you. Let its glow soften you. Let its presence carry you deeper into peace. The fire does not fade. It only waits. It will be here, through night and day, through silence and song. Now drift into its light. Now rest as the stars return. Let us drift onward, held in the quiet flame of Hestia. The night is calm. The air carries the hush of waves. Moonlight spills across the open waters, silver and still, where foam curls like lace upon the sea's dark skin. The wind is gentle, a breath that caresses the shore. The sound of water meeting sand is soft, endless, like a heartbeat of the earth. In this quiet place, a story unfolds. A story of birth, of beauty, of love. From the wide and endless sea, a goddess emerges. Aphrodite. Her name, a whisper upon the waves. Her form, born of foam and light. She rises, not with thunder but with softness. Not with command but with grace. The sea gives her to the world, and the world receives her with awe. Imagine the moment of her beginning. The horizon glows faintly, touched by dawn. The waves sway as if in rhythm with her breath. From the foam, from the shimmer of water, she lifts, radiant and calm. Her hair is like silk moving with the tide. Her skin holds the glow of moonlight. She steps upon the sea as though it is her cradle. The shells and pearls at her feet glisten like stars fallen into water. The air itself grows still, as if to listen. The seabirds quiet their cries. The world waits, and in that waiting, a new presence enters. The presence of love, of beauty, of harmony. Her temples would later rise along coastlines and islands. In Cyprus, in Paphos, in gardens by the sea, people came with garlands of flowers, with doves in their hands, with music in their voices. They sang of her gentleness, of her grace. They praised her as the one who softened hearts, who healed quarrels, who drew souls toward one another. Her worship was not only for desire, but for harmony. She was the bridge that turned longing into union. She was the calm that settled storms within the heart. She was the glow that made the world seem brighter, softer, more tender. Picture now the festival. The air is warm. Petals are scattered upon the waves. Women in flowing robes carry flowers and fruits, their hair adorned with ivy and roses. Men lift their voices in song, flutes and lyres echoing under the open sky. Doves flutter from the temple roof, circling in slow arcs, their wings catching sunlight. No anger lingers here. No sorrow is sharp. Only the flow of love, gentle as water, strong as tide. Aphrodite's presence is felt not in thunder, but in the way eyes soften, hands reach, and hearts open. She is the whisper that reminds all beings of their shared longing for connection. Love, they knew, was not only passion. It was also the quiet peace of belonging, the gaze that lingers without words, the hand that reaches in silence, the warmth that binds souls without need of command. Aphrodite carried this truth. That love was not only fire, but also water. It could flow, it could soothe, it could reflect. It could heal the sharp edges of life, smoothing them with time and tenderness. Think of the sea itself, endless, open, always moving, yet always whole. Its waves may crash, but always they return to calm. Its foam may rise, but always it dissolves back into stillness. So too is love. It can be fierce, yet it returns to gentleness. It can stir the heart, yet it seeks harmony. It is vast, eternal, beyond measure, yet found in the smallest glance, the quietest touch. In the hush of night, her worshippers sang. They lit lamps of oil, their flames flickering like stars upon the temple floor. They offered her honey and sweet wine, the gifts of earth given back to the sea-born goddess. They prayed not only for desire, but for peace within their homes. They prayed for children to be born, for lovers to stay faithful, for friends to be reconciled. Aphrodite listened, not as a ruler upon a throne, but as a presence in the air, as the tide within the heart. Her answer was not always loud. Sometimes it was as soft as a breath, as simple as the easing of sorrow, as quiet as forgiveness. Her myth speaks of beauty so radiant that even gods were stirred. Yet her true gift was not only the shape of her form, but the harmony she brought. She was the reminder that beauty is not skin, but spirit. It is the way the world glows when seen with gentle eyes. It is the way life feels when touched by kindness. It is the way love softens the hardest of days. Close your eyes and return to the sea. The moon glimmers above, its light melting upon the waves. The foam curls softly, like lace upon water. In that foam, she rises again, eternal, endless, always beginning. Aphrodite, born of the sea, born of the longing that rests within every heart, her presence is with you now. In the breath that eases your chest, in the calm that settles over your mind, in the quiet rhythm that carries you towards sleep, she reminds you that love is not far. It is here within you, around you, flowing like tide. It is the sea that never empties. It is the foam that always returns. It is the softness that holds all things together. Let the sound of waves cradle you. Let the glow of her presence warm you. Let the calm of her birth carry you deeper into rest. Aphrodite remains, rising always, her beauty woven into every ripple of the sea. She rises in silence. She rises in love. She rises in peace. Now drift with her tide. Now rest as the stars return. Let us drift onward, carried upon the foam of Aphrodite's sea. The city of Rome sleeps. Stone streets lie still beneath the pale glow of the moon. Olive trees sway gently in the night air, their silver leaves whispering like old prayers. In the heart of the city, where temples rise in quiet dignity, a single flame glows. It burns without end, guarded through centuries, tended with devotion. This is the sacred fire of Vesta, the hearth flame of Rome. Within the round temple, silence lingers like incense. The columns stand tall, pale as bone in moonlight. At the center rests the fire, gentle, unwavering, a soft golden heart in the dark. It flickers and breathes, but it does not falter, for there are women who watch over it, night and day. The Vestal Virgins, chosen as children, bound to service, they carry the weight of the city's spirit. You may imagine them now, moving softly across the marble floor. Their white veils trail like mist. Their hands carry simple tools, bowls of grain, jugs of pure water, bundles of laurel. They approach the flame as though approaching the soul of Rome itself. Every step is measured, quiet, almost dreamlike. They do not speak. They do not need to. The fire is their language. The fire is their prayer. The Vestals were daughters of silence and discipline. They lived apart from the rush of the city, yet at its very heart, they did not marry nor bear children. Their life was given instead to the flame, to keep it pure, to keep it alive, to ensure that Rome itself would endure. It was said that if the flame ever died, misfortune would fall upon the city, but it did not die. Through storms, through wars, through shifting centuries, the fire lived on. For the Vestals did not fail. They rose with the dawn. They kept watch in the dark. They moved as one with the rhythm of duty. Imagine their dawn rituals, the first light of morning spilling into the temple, the city still waking, the hum of voices not yet begun. The Vestals prepare the fire with tender care. They sprinkle salt upon the hearth. They place sacred herbs upon the coals, releasing a fragrance that curls upward like prayer. The flame crackles, golden, alive. Its warmth is gentle, never fierce. It is a home flame, a hearth flame, meant not for war but for life. Their service was long, 30 years beneath the veil of duty, 10 years in learning, 10 years in practice, 10 years in teaching, a life woven entirely around the glow of a single flame. But within this service, there was peace, the peace of rhythm, the peace of knowing one's place in the great order, the peace of silence, of stillness, of a calling that did not falter. The Vestals did not wander. They did not chase after the noise of the world. They stood within the circle of the hearth, and in that circle they found eternity. To the people of Rome, they were more than women. They were symbols, living reminders that the sacred was woven into the fabric of the city, that without reverence, without devotion, the stones would crumble. But with care, with faith, with fire, the city would endure. Children looked to them with wonder. Families entrusted them with hope. Even emperors bowed before their presence. For the power of the Vestals was not of armies, but of stillness. They embodied the quiet strength that holds a world together. Think now of the fire itself, how it must have looked in the stillness of night. A single flame, small yet endless. It flickered, it breathed, it whispered. It told of home, of belonging, of the center that does not move. That is what the Vestals guarded. Not only Rome, but the idea of home itself. The idea that every soul needs a flame to return to. A flame that does not judge, does not waver, does not fail. And so their duty was not only sacred, it was tender. For in every home, in every family hearth across the city, the echo of Vesta's flame lived. The meals shared, the stories told, the warmth that held back the cold. All of these were bound to the sacred fire in the round temple. By guarding the flame, the Vestals guarded love itself, belonging itself, the quiet, simple peace of the hearth. At times, festivals lit the city with celebration. The Vestalia, held in June, was one such moment. Women came barefoot to Vesta's temple, carrying offerings of bread baked with the first grain. The air was thick with fragrance, flowers, herbs, smoke rising in gentle spirals. Donkeys were crowned with garlands, honored as helpers of the hearth. For a brief time, the inner sanctum of Vesta's temple was opened, and the people felt the closeness of the goddess. Yet even in this joy, the flame burned steadily, unchanged. It did not flare with noise. It did not dim with silence. It remained what it always was, a gentle pulse, a golden breath, a promise that Rome was watched over. Imagine the Vestals in the quiet after the festival. The streets empty, the laughter faded, the temple calm once more. They returned to their watch, veils pale as dawn, footsteps soft against stone. They kneel before the fire, feeding it with care. The city may celebrate, may forget, may sleep, but the flame does not forget. The flame does not sleep. In time, the city itself would fall. The temples would crumble. The rituals would fade into silence. But the memory of the Vestals remains, not as rulers, not as warriors, but as guardians of something gentler, something eternal, the still, quiet heart at the center of all things. Now return in your mind to the temple at night, the round walls, the tall columns, the hush of marble, and at the center, the flame. It flickers softly, a golden glow against the shadows. It warms but does not burn. It shines but does not blind. It whispers but never fades. You may drift closer to it. You may feel its warmth on your skin, its glow upon your heart. It is the flame that never fails, the flame of home, the flame of peace. The Vestal virgins remain in this dream, tending with quiet hands, moving with timeless patience. Their devotion is a lullaby. Their silence is a comfort. Their presence is a reminder that within every soul there is a hearth. Within every heart there is a flame that waits, steady and still. Let that flame glow within you now. Let it warm you. Let it soften you. Let it hold you as the night deepens, the city sleeps, the temple breathes, the flame endures. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return. Sleep while the sacred fire glows eternal. The night is gentle. The stars rest like lanterns across the sky. A cool wind drifts over quiet hills, carrying with it the scent of earth and grain. The fields lie open, wide as the sea, their golden stalks bending under the silver breath of the moon. This is the realm of Demeter, the goddess of harvest, the mother of grain, the quiet giver of life's daily bread. Step softly into these fields. The soil is dark and rich, softened by the touch of countless hands. Every stalk of barley rises like a hymn, every ear of wheat like a prayer. There is no hurry here, no storm of sound, only the still rhythm of the earth, the endless patience of growth. Demeter was loved not for her fire or her thunder, but for her steady gift of nourishment. She was not a goddess of war, nor of the high skies. She was of the ground, of the seed, of the tender green sprout pushing through soil. To the people of Greece, she was mother and guardian. Through her, fields blossomed and families were fed. Through her, the world endured its seasons, weaving summer into autumn, winter into spring. Her touch was not loud. It was quiet, patient, sure. A whisper in the soil, a breath in the wind, a golden glow in the grain. Close your eyes and picture her temples. They were not built high upon mountain cliffs, but near fields and villages, close to the life of the people. There, fires burned softly and offerings of bread and fruit were left upon altars. Women carried baskets of barley. Men brought wine and oil. Children carried flowers, their laughter drifting like birdsong into the sacred space. And at the heart of these rites lay a deeper mystery, the mysteries of Eleusis, a secret festival whispered across generations. Here, in hushed nights filled with torchlight, people gathered. They walked the sacred way. They carried simple offerings, grain, water, honey, small tokens of devotion. They did not seek power. They sought belonging. They sought hope in the face of death. For Demeter's story was not only of growth, but of loss and return. Her daughter Persephone was taken into the underworld. The earth mourned, the fields withered, the flowers closed. Demeter wandered in sorrow, carrying her grief across the lands. Until, through divine accord, Persephone returned each spring, and with her, the flowers opened again, the fields flourished, and the grain ripened in gold. This was the rhythm that shaped the mysteries, the rhythm of loss and return, of winter's stillness and spring's renewal, of death and rebirth. The people did not speak of what they saw in Eleusis. They held the secret in silence, bound by reverence. But they carried back into their lives a quiet faith that even in the stillness of winter, the seed rests with life hidden inside, that no darkness is final, that within the soil of endings lies the promise of beginnings. Walk now through the dream of these rites. The torches glow against the night, their lights swaying like reeds in the wind. The air is fragrant with smoke and honey. 1,000 footsteps move in quiet rhythm, pilgrims walking the path together. Voices murmur like streams, prayers soft and low. And at the end, the temple rises, surrounded by fields that glimmer in moonlight. Inside, shadows dance across stone walls. Priestesses move with slow grace, veils flowing like water. They pour libations of milk and wine. They scatter barley upon the earth. They whisper words carried only by the flame, only by the soil. The firelight bends across faces both young and old. For here every soul belongs. Farmer and traveler, mother and child, rich and poor, all stand equal before the goddess of grain. Demeter does not ask for splendor. She asks only for gratitude. She asks only that the harvest be honored, the bread shared, the cycles of earth respected. And in return she gives abundance. She gives sustenance. She gives the gentle rhythm of seasons. Imagine now the fields at dawn. The mist lies low, soft as linen across the earth. The first light brushes the tips of the grain with silver. The stalks sway as though in silent prayer. Somewhere a farmer bends to gather the harvest. Each handful of grain is not only food, it is life itself flowing from the hands of the goddess. To walk with Demeter is to walk slowly, to move with the rhythm of growth which knows no haste. The seed waits in the dark, patient, unseen. It breaks open, fragile, hidden from the eye. And yet, in time, it rises toward the light, becomes stalk and flower, becomes bread and nourishment. This is her lesson, that all things carry their time, that all things return in their season. Her story is not only of agriculture, it is of the soul. For every heart knows winters, every spirit passes through shadows. But within each there lies a hidden seed, waiting, sleeping, alive. The mysteries whispered of this truth, that life does not end but changes shape, that the soul, like the grain, falls into the earth, rests in the dark and rises again. The torchlight of Eleusis was not only for the fields but for the spirit itself, a light in the darkness, a promise of return. Even now, across centuries, that whisper lingers. It drifts like wind across the fields of time. It speaks in the golden hush of wheat, in the fragrance of bread fresh from the fire, in the patient cycles of the seasons. Rest now in these fields. The moon glows above you, steady and kind. The stalks of barley sway, their golden heads brushing one another like soft voices. The air is warm with earth and harvest. Demeter's presence is near, gentle, embracing, eternal. She does not speak in thunder. She speaks in the slow ripening of grain. She speaks in the hush of the soil. She speaks in the taste of bread upon the tongue, in the shelter of a shared meal, in the endless patience of the earth. Let her gift cradle you. Let her rhythm steady you. Let her whisper remind you that even in stillness, life waits. Even in the dark, light will return. Even in the quiet of night, the golden grain grows. The mysteries are closed. The torches fade. The pilgrims rest. And the fields breathe on eternal. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return. Sleep as the golden grain ripens in silence. The night is heavy with stillness. The air lies quiet like a soft blanket drawn across the world. Above, the stars glow faintly, like the embers of distant fires. And below, unseen, there lies another realm. A place of shadow, yet not of fear. A place where silence is deep and time moves in slow circles. This is the realm of Persephone, the silent queen of the underworld. Step gently now. The air cools as if you are drifting downward, carried by unseen currents. The walls of the earth open softly, like a cavern carved from dream. The light fades, not harshly, but as twilight slipping into night. You enter a kingdom beneath roots and rivers, where voices echo like low songs, and the ground itself glows faintly with the memory of life above. Persephone was once a maiden of spring. She walked through meadows bright with flowers, her hands brushing petals, her hair woven with blossoms. The earth sang to her in colors: violet, gold, crimson, green. Every breeze was soft with fragrance, every step alive with joy. But then, the ground opened. The chariot of Hades rose from below, dark horses draped in shadow. He carried her down into the unseen world. And so began her life as queen beneath the earth. This story, whispered for ages, carries not only sorrow, but also renewal. For Persephone does not vanish forever. She returns when the time is right. And each spring her feet touch the fields again. The flowers rise to greet her. The earth awakens in color. Her journey is the cycle of all things, of endings and beginnings, of descent and return, of night flowing into dawn. Picture her throne now, deep in the still realm. It is not carved of cruelty, but of stone smooth as river rock, touched by the glow of hidden gems. She sits beside Hades, not only as his bride, but as queen in her own right. Her presence is calm, quiet, and strong. She does not raise her voice. She rules with silence, with steady eyes, with the stillness of earth itself. The souls who drift into her halls do not fear her. They bow gently, as one bows to a mother or to the night sky. For she is not death itself, but the keeper of its doorway. She is the guardian of return. Her hands hold both shadow and seed. Imagine the underworld as a vast cavern of soft light. Streams flow with silver water. Shadows ripple like veils. The air is cool, but not cold. Everywhere, small lights flicker, souls glowing faintly like lanterns scattered across the dark. They move slowly, without hurry, drifting like leaves upon a hidden river. Persephone walks among them. Her gown moves like mist across stone. Her crown is woven not of gold, but of branches and shadowed blossoms. Her voice is rare, but when it comes, it feels like the sound of soil opening for the seed, like the breath of spring breaking winter's silence. The ancients told her story not only to explain the seasons, but to soothe the heart, for in her descent they saw their own. Every life touches darkness. Every soul moves through winters of silence, moments of loss, times when the world feels still and empty. But Persephone reminds us that silence is not the end. The seed rests in the soil. The bud hides in the branch. Life waits, unseen, until its time. Her return each spring is not only a gift of flowers. It is a promise that no winter lasts forever, that within the deepest quiet lies the whisper of renewal. Step further into her dream now. The halls of the underworld stretch wide like endless temples carved into rock. Torches burn with steady light, their flames golden against black stone. Ancient pillars rise, tall and silent, like the trunks of eternal trees. Here time does not rush. It lingers, gentle, slow as breath. Souls move along the pathways. Some pause to drink from quiet streams. Others rest upon stones that shine like crystal. There is no chaos, no noise, only the soft murmur of eternity, the patient hum of the earth. Persephone watches with calm eyes. Every soul belongs here. Every passage is respected. In her stillness all are held, yet always above her silent throne the seasons turn. When the time comes, she rises. The gates of the underworld open like dawn breaking. She steps upward, her feet brushing through shadow into light. And as she emerges, the earth stirs. Snow melts from the fields. Green pushes through brown soil. Flowers open their faces to the sun. The air fills with birdsong, as if the world itself sings to greet her. She brings with her not only color, but balance, for she is both queen of shadow and maiden of bloom. Her journey is the circle that holds the world together. Descent and ascent, darkness and light, ending and beginning. Rest for a moment in this rhythm. Imagine the cycle as a wheel turning slowly. Winter into spring, summer into autumn, life into rest, rest into life again. The wheel never halts. It turns softly without end. Persephone's story is this wheel. She reminds the soul that silence is part of the song, that endings are folded into beginnings, that what goes below will rise again. Now drift with her through the fields of spring. The air is warm, fragrant with blossoms. The ground is soft beneath her feet, scattered with petals. She lifts her hands and the grain rises. She breathes and the flowers unfold. She walks, and the world awakens. Farmers lift their eyes to the sky. Children run barefoot in the grass. The rivers swell with new life, and in every breath of wind there is her whisper, a reminder that light returns always in its season. Let her story hold you as you drift into rest. If shadows surround you, remember her silent throne, steady and calm. If you feel winter's stillness, remember her footsteps rising, carrying life back into the light. Her tale is not of despair. It is of return. It is of patience. It is of the quiet promise that life is eternal in its cycles. Now let the underworld grow soft behind you. Let the fields of spring unfold ahead of you. The stars return above, gentle and sure. The air grows still, like the closing of a lullaby. Let us drift onward. Now rest as Persephone's silent realm fades into dream. The night deepens. The stars above shimmer faintly, their silver light spilling across an endless sea. A hush lies upon the waters, like a soft veil drawn across the world. And there, beyond the horizon, rises an island, Crete, an island of mountains and valleys, of olive groves and winding rivers, a land where the sea breeze mingles with the fragrance of herbs, where time itself feels ancient and unhurried. In this place, beneath moonlight, the air carries a hidden rhythm. The sound of drums, low and steady, echoes through stone halls. It is not the rhythm of war. It is the rhythm of worship, of dance, of life itself. You drift through narrow passageways, torchlight flickering on walls painted with color. Reds, blues, and golds breathe from ancient murals. Scenes of flowers, dolphins, spirals, and women in flowing robes. The air is cool, yet alive with quiet energy. At the heart of these halls you come to a wide chamber, the temple of the serpent priestesses. Here the floor is polished stone, smooth under soft steps. Columns rise like tree trunks painted with deep hues. At the center stands an altar, carved of shining rock, adorned with bowls of grain, figs, and honey. Oil lamps glow like stars brought down into human hands. And around the altar, women move in silence. Their bodies sway in slow rhythm, their arms raised, each hand holding a serpent. The snakes coil gracefully, their scales gleaming in the firelight. They are not feared here. They are revered, symbols of life, of fertility, of endless renewal. The serpent sheds its skin, and with it, the people of Crete saw the mystery of rebirth. To hold a serpent in the hand was to hold the secret of life itself. The priestesses wear long skirts that ripple as they move. Their hair is dark and flowing, crowned with small bands of gold or bronze. Their eyes are calm, steady as the night sky. Each step they take is measured, each gesture slow and deliberate. Their dance is not a performance. It is prayer. It is communion. It is the weaving of life's eternal pattern. The people of Crete believed the world itself was alive with cycles. The seed planted in the soil, the stalk of grain rising toward the sun, the harvest gathered, the bread baked, the life sustained. And then, once again, the seed returned to the earth. The snake mirrored this rhythm, shedding its skin to show that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. The priestesses embodied this truth in their movement. Their arms curved like rivers. Their feet traced circles upon the stone floor, spirals turning inward and outward. Their serpents lifted their heads, tongues flickering, as though drinking in the sacred air. The dance carried no haste. It flowed like water, like the passing of seasons, like the soft rise and fall of breath. Imagine the sound that fills the chamber. A low drum, steady as a heartbeat, the rustle of skirts brushing against stone, the faint hiss of serpents shifting in gentle coils, and above it all a voice, low and melodic, chanting words older than memory. A hymn not of dominance but of devotion, not of conquest but of creation. The priestesses sing to the mother goddess, the spirit who lives in earth and sky, in river and tree. Their voices rise and fall like waves upon the shore. They ask for fertility of fields, for safety of homes, for the protection of children. And in the shimmering eyes of the serpents, they see her gaze reflected. Step closer now. See how the altar glows with offerings. Grain, symbol of life's daily bread. Honey sweet as sunlight. Oil, rich and golden, poured into lamps to banish the dark. Each gift is simple, yet each gift holds the weight of reverence. The serpents, too, are fed, not cast aside, not treated with fear. They are honored as guardians of the temple, protectors of the sacred flame. In their curling bodies, the people of Crete saw eternity, a line with no end, a circle that returns upon itself. They saw protection, fertility, and mystery bound into one. The dance deepens. The priestesses sway, their bodies moving as though guided by the sea itself. Their arms rise, serpents gliding upward, their scales catching the light like ripples of water. Their voices merge, humming low, creating a vibration that hums in the chest like the earth's own song. It is not a chant of words, but of tone. A sound meant not to be understood by mind, but by spirit. The air thickens with presence. It feels as though the very walls breathe with the rhythm. The murals on the walls seem to stir. Dolphins swimming, flowers opening, spirals turning. Everything alive, everything connected. This is the mystery of the serpent dance. Not to command the world, but to flow with it. Not to conquer life, but to honor it. For the Minoans, women carried the flame of life. They tended hearths, raised children, planted fields, offered prayers. And in the temple, the serpent priestesses gave shape to these truths in ritual. Their dance was more than movement. It was the language of life itself. The snake in their hands was not a danger. It was a companion, a teacher. It whispered of cycles, of renewal, of hidden wisdom beneath the earth. In its unblinking gaze, they saw the patience of time. In its coiling body, they saw the spiral of creation. Now imagine the night outside the temple. The sea laps gently against the shore. The stars shimmer above like countless eyes watching kindly. From the mountains, a soft wind drifts down, carrying the scent of herbs. Thyme, sage, rosemary. All the island is hushed as if listening, as if the whole world leans in to hear the whisper of the dance. The priestesses move still, their bodies flowing like the tide. The serpents turn their heads toward the lamps, and slowly the rhythm softens. The drums quiet. The chanting fades into silence. The serpents curl into rest, their bodies coiled like sleeping rivers. The priestesses lower their arms, bowing before the altar. The chamber grows still. Only the flame of the lamps remains, small and steady, like stars brought close. The air is filled with peace, as though the prayer has settled into every stone, every shadow, every breath. You can almost feel it upon your skin, a calm warmth, like the touch of the earth itself. This silence is not empty. It is full of presence, full of promise, full of the eternal rhythm that flows through all things. As you drift in this quiet, remember the serpents. Remember how they shed their skins, how they remind us that endings are not final, but gateways. That renewal follows release. That life is a circle, ever turning. Let the image of the priestesses stay with you. Their calm eyes, their flowing robes, their hands raised in grace. They are guardians of the cycle, dancers of the eternal spiral. And their story lingers, not as noise, but as breath, slow and steady. Now the temple grows faint. The torches dim. The sea breeze drifts softly through the stone halls. The stars return above, patient and eternal. The night hums with stillness once more. Let us drift onward. Now rest, as the serpents coil in silence, and the priestesses fade into dream. The night lies wrapped in silver mist. Soft clouds drift low over rolling hills. The air carries the scent of wet earth, pine, and wildflowers. And in the hush of twilight, a quiet song lingers, older than the stones that rise from the ground. This is the land of the Celts, a land where forests breathe like living temples, where rivers wind through valleys like shining ribbons, where every stone, every spring, every tree holds spirit. And here, in this vast and gentle land, the divine women dwell. You walk slowly through the forest where trunks of oak and ash rise tall into the fading sky. The leaves shift with the breath of evening. Birds give their last calls, then settle into silence. And beneath the trees, the earth is soft with moss, damp with hidden streams. It is said that in such places the goddesses of the Celts wander, not bound by temple walls, but moving with the world itself. They are present in the water that runs, in the stone that endures, in the wind that stirs. They are guardians, guides, and mothers of the land. A gentle mist parts, and before you flows a river. Its surface is smooth, touched by moonlight. The current glides quietly, carrying leaves, carrying time itself. Here lives Boann, goddess of the Boyne. Her name flows with the river, her spirit shaping its waters. It is told that she approached the well of wisdom, a place too sacred to disturb, yet she walked toward it fearless, and when the waters rose in power, they spilled outward, forming the river itself. So the river became her, and she became the river. In her waters life is nourished, fields are fed, songs are born. Stand at the bank, and you may feel her presence, a cool touch upon your skin, a whisper of courage, a reminder that wisdom flows freely when one dares to step forward. Further along the path, the mist gathers into soft shadows, and you hear the distant echo of drums, low, steady, like the heartbeat of the earth. This is the realm of the Morrigan, the great queen. She is the raven upon the battlefield, the watcher in the storm. Her voice is the cry of wind over moors, her cloak the black wing of night. Yet even in her power, she holds not only fear, but protection. She reminds mortals of strength, of cycles of death and renewal. Her presence teaches that endings are not to be feared, but honored as passages. In her shadow there is not despair, but depth. A deep reminder that all things change, and through change, life continues. The ravens circle overhead, their wings cutting softly through the mist. They do not startle, they guide. They remind you that in darkness, wisdom still waits. The forest opens again, revealing a wide clearing. At its center, a stone well glimmers with moonlight. The air here is cool and pure, carrying the scent of water and stone. This is the sacred dwelling of Brigid, goddess of flame and well. Her domain is fire, yet also healing waters. She bridges opposites, warmth and coolness, spark and flow. She is guardian of poets, smiths, and healers, the one who tends the sacred flame that never dies. At her well, pilgrims once left ribbons and offerings, tying their hopes to branches above the water. They came seeking healing, seeking vision, seeking peace, and even now, the stillness around the well holds that quiet longing. It feels as though her gentle hands still rest upon the land. Lean closer to the water. See the reflection of stars ripple upon its surface. Listen, and you may hear her soft blessing, carried in the hush of night. The Celts knew their goddesses not as distant beings, but as companions. They were the rivers that quenched thirst, the stones that stood unmoved, the fire that gave warmth on cold nights. Their myths were not only stories, but reminders that spirit lived in all things. To walk through forest, to touch water, to sit upon stone. This was to be close to the divine. The divine women guided not only rulers and warriors, but every life. In their presence, children were born, crops grew tall, and hearts found courage. They were the pulse beneath the soil, the breath in the wind, the song carried by rivers. Now the mist thickens once more. The river, the ravens, the well all fade into soft memory. Only the sound of the wind remains, moving gently through branches above. You walk onward, slower now, as though the earth itself carries you. The forest begins to thin. The trees open, revealing an ancient circle of stones. They rise tall and silent, their surfaces marked by age, their shadows long in the moonlight. Here, too, the divine women are felt, for each stone is a memory, each shadow a presence. In the stillness, you sense them all. Boan's flowing courage, the Morrigan's steady strength, Brigid's healing flame, different faces of one great spirit, the mother of the land. The night grows deeper, the mist settles low. The stars above shine softly as though watching over the earth with endless patience. The air is cool upon your skin, the ground steady beneath your feet, the silence rich, like a song without words. Here, among stones and stars, you feel the truth the Celts carried, that the divine is never far, that it lives in rivers and wells, in birds and shadows, in flame and breath, that to honor life is to honor the divine. The wind drifts quieter now. The forest closes its eyes. The rivers hum beneath the earth, and the divine women rest, their presence woven into every leaf, every drop of water, every grain of soil. Let their calm surround you. Let their wisdom hold you. Let their song carry you gently into dream. Now the stones fade. The mist thickens. The stars return. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the goddesses of river and flame, of shadow and song guard the silence of your sleep. The night has grown deep. The stars stretch wide across the heavens, gentle and still. Clouds drift like soft veils pale against the dark. The world breathes in quiet rhythm, and the air feels tender, like the hush that lingers after prayer. It is here, in this final stillness, that the journey gathers itself. The rivers, the forests, the temples, and the underworlds you have walked through, the goddesses of many lands, each with their voice, their blessing, their gift. Now all of them draw close, woven into one light, one flame, eternal and serene. The flame flickers first as a small spark, delicate, like the glow of a single candle in a vast dark hall. Its light is warm, soft, and golden. It does not shout nor burn with force. It glows like a heartbeat, steady and unbroken. This is the eternal feminine flame, the living thread that runs through time and across lands. It has taken many forms. The river goddess who carried courage in her waters, the queen of shadows who held the wisdom of endings, the healer of flame and well who offered balance, and many more, across oceans and deserts, mountains and plains. All their spirits are here in this flame, their voices gentle, their presence near. You drift closer, and the flame widens. It does not blind, it comforts. The light stretches into a circle, surrounding you with its embrace. The air grows warm, the earth beneath steady. It feels as though you are wrapped in a cloak of calm. In its glow, you see the faces of the divine women. Persephone, quiet in her silent realm, carrying seeds of renewal. The serpent priestesses of Crete, moving with the rhythm of earth and body. The Celtic guardians of river, battlefield, and well. All stand here, not separate, but as threads of one great weave. Each face glimmers for a moment, then softens into the flame again. Each memory is held, yet none are bound. They flow into one another like rivers meeting the sea. The flame hums softly like distant singing, a song without words carried only by warmth and light. It is the song of mothers and daughters, of healers and dreamers, of keepers of fire, of water, of shadow, of sky. The song does not end, for it is not bound to time. It lives in the breath of wind, in the flicker of stars, in the turning of the earth itself. It is the quiet assurance that whatever changes, this flame remains. Always guiding, always watching, always waiting with love. The ground softens into meadow. Tall grasses sway gently in the night air. They bend and rise with the rhythm of the flame, like dancers in a circle. The scent of lavender drifts across the field, carried by calm breezes. In the meadow's heart, the eternal flame stands steady. It does not consume. It does not fade. It gives light as a gift, endless and tender. You feel your breath moving slowly in its glow. Each inhale deep and calm. Each exhale a letting go. Your body sinks into peace, as though resting upon the lap of the earth itself. The divine women step closer. They do not speak with words, but with presence. You feel Persephone's cool touch, like the soil that waits for seeds. You feel Bridget's warmth, like a hearth that welcomes all who enter. You feel the Morrigan's shadow, steady and grounding, a reminder that change is sacred. And from far-off lands, the flame carries others too. Isis with her wings outstretched, Hathor with her gentle smile, Inanna shining with starlight. All are gathered. All are present. Not as many, but as one. Their essence woven into the flame, into the circle that surrounds you. The meadow grows quieter. The grass is still. Even the wind seems to pause, resting in the warmth of the light. The flame whispers softly now. It speaks of cycles, of endings that are beginnings, of darkness that shelters as much as it hides, of waters that heal, of fires that inspire, of earth that cradles. It tells you that the flame has never left. It has always lived here, deep within the heart. Sometimes hidden, sometimes seen, but always alive. Every breath, every dream, every quiet moment, it glows, steady and true. You lie back upon the soft grass. The flame continues to shine above you. The stars gather around it, as if bowing to its gentle light. Moonlight touches the meadow, silver and still. The divine women fade softly into the glow, their forms returning to the eternal flame.
They do not leave.
They become one with the light again, resting yet awake. Everlasting, you breathe with the flame. Slow, calm, safe. Now the meadow fades. The grasses melt into mist. The stars blur softly like lanterns seen through water. The flame remains, guiding you into rest. Its warmth touches your spirit, a reminder that you are not alone. That comfort lives here. That light lives here. That the eternal feminine flame lives on even as the world grows quiet. The night closes gently. The mist returns, soft and cool. The stars fall into silence, yet their glow lingers. The flame narrows into a single spark again, steady, unbroken, eternal. And as you drift deeper into rest, the spark settles quietly within you. Safe, hidden, but always burning. An eternal guide, an eternal flame. Now the journey is complete. The goddess is rest. The world is hushed, and you too may rest. Let us drift onward, carried by the flame. Now sleep as the stars return, and the eternal feminine light holds you in peace.